Alright, so I wanted to do a little shop walkthrough on the OMTech 80 watt that I own. I do have my laser down here in my basement next to my Shapeoko CNC. Now, I am also underneath my living room, so it was kind of a challenge to get down here, but it wasn't too bad. The way I did it, if you have a tight area that you're trying to bring it in, is I got the 80 watt with a base. So that's important, right? If you're trying to get in a tight area, you need to get a laser with a base because the base is detachable. So there's a bolt in each corner, and when you detach the base, it's only 24 inches wide. So when you stand it up, you can literally roll it on a furniture dolly such as this that I got from Harbor Freight. And I was able to get it through this doorway. So it actually wasn't too bad with two people. Now, before you bring it into where you want to go, I would recommend taping off the footprint of the laser, and the dimensions are on the website. That way you could physically see where it's going to go. All right. So now what to expect when you receive your laser? Well, for the 80 watt, it will come in a big crate. All of them come in a big crate, but it will come in a big crate, and the 80 watts tube, which is back here, will come in a separate box because you actually have to install it. The 60 watts and then the full body lasers you don't have to install. But that's because the tube on the 80 watt is longer than the body. So they have a 12-inch extension right here, but it's steel, so no worry about that. And then when you open it up on the back side, you see the glass tube that fires or powers the laser, right? But it's super easy to install. You got two clamps, 1, 2. You got two cords, red cord, red goes to red. And you got the black cord, black goes to black. Then you got two water lines, the short water line for the front and the long water line for the rear. All right. Now, I talked water. They send you this tub that you would fill with water, and you would submerge this aquarium pump that they give you, and you connect the water lines, and what it does is it circulates water through your tube to keep it cool. Now, the problem with this is that it's open to the elements, and the problem for me is I have the CNC, so I didn't want debris going everywhere. Now, if you didn't want to upgrade to a chiller, you can get a bucket with a lid, and I would get a thermometer to watch the temperature because that tube will heat up the water. Now let's go look on the inside of the laser. Open this up. Now the laser does have a stock fan, and I did remove the fan because, to be honest, the fan is not very effective. But I will show you an upgrade here in a second. It also comes with an air assist. So this air assist, it pumps air all the way to the laser head right here. This is an air line, and it helps keep the lens that's in here. There is a laser lens in here that helps it keep it cool, keeps it clean, but it helps with your cut too. So that's just something to keep in mind for an upgrade later as well. Now let's talk upgrades, okay? The first thing we want to talk about is the upgrade for the bucket. Now I got the CW 5200 water chiller, and if you're in a hot environment, this is a necessity. This keeps the temperature for the tube at its optimal temperature. Now if you're in a cold environment, it's still suggested that you get this, but if it's anywhere where you're going to freeze, the water's going to freeze, then you can put 50% distilled water and 50% RV antifreeze, the red stuff, not the green stuff. Now the second recommendation for upgrade is the fan that I was talking about, and this is probably a necessity, especially if you plan on putting this laser indoors. The AC Infinity fan. It has 6-inch diameter on both sides. the motor comes out after you loosen these two clamps, and then you can actually screw in the body to the wall, to the ceiling, doesn't matter. And then you just put the motor back in and tighten the clamps. Super easy to install. I used rigid duct, 6-inch duct for a 6-inch port. I recommend probably using flexible stuff just because it's easier to work with. And then I just ran it all the way out to my basement window. It's not the prettiest, but it works perfect. And this thing is so quiet. Now it does have a controller right here that I just used Velcro tape to mount it to the pipe right here, and I can just press the button to turn it on. Now I talked about the stock air assist. Well, to be honest, I turned it off. I don't use it. And I upgraded it because it's such a small pump. And the air assist, what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to give you a really nice cut. And it helps. It gives you a good cut. But it could be better, right? So as we move to the back of the laser, keep in mind how small that air assist was. I use a compressor. And this is a California compressor. And it is the quiet model, right? All of the California compressors are quiet. But I'm underneath my living room, right? So it needs to be quiet. Now, the admins have a YouTube video on how to install this and all the components you need, and we have a list of everything if you decide to do it. All right. But I just want to point out the fact that you don't need any of this stuff because it will come ready to run with everything that I showed you. Now there's little things like LED upgrade that I did. There is a YouTube video on that in the announcements page. You can get a rotary for doing tumblers, right? But just keep in mind that if you want to do rotary, you can't have a motorized bed because the motorized bed only goes down about 4 inches, where the non-motorized beds go down 10 inches. So you need the height to go down. Most of the models, I think all the models except for the 50, have pass-through doors. These are pass-through doors. And you can fit larger objects or longer objects through there that might not necessarily fit on top. You can just slide them through right here. There's a pass-through door on the back as well. These controllers do very well using Lightburn software. That is extra. You do have to pay for Lightburn, but it is highly recommended. Most users use Lightburn with these type of controllers. And what's nice is that you can directly connect through USB to your laser, and it will talk to the controller as it's connected, where most other softwares you have to use a thumb drive. So there are a lot of little other accessories like magnets for holding down plywood and whatnot. It sticks right to the bed. So plywood tends to bow and flex, so you want magnets to hold it down as it's cutting. But other than that, if you guys have any questions, that's a ton of information. But if you have any questions, let me know and I will answer them.